Well, hello everyone, and thank you for joining us. My name is David Forry with Brandon Hall Group, and I'm joined by Michael Rochelle, our Chief Strategy Officer.
Hi, David. How's Florida?
Florida is great. We can't wait to welcome you, get you out of Boston and down here in Boca Raton.
I know, I'm so excited. I'm actually packing my backpack full of really cool information to share at our AI Summit.
That's right. October 16th and 17th, we are live from the Boca Raton Innovation Campus, where Brandon Hall Group is headquartered. It's actually the old headquarters of IBM, where they invented the first personal computer. So it's full of really cool tech companies, and we are going to be welcoming about 50 leaders in HR that are currently implementing AI or looking to better their process. So today we just wanted to chat a little bit about the summit that we're hosting. So Michael, I know one big thing that we're debuting is our AI progression model. Can you talk a little bit about our research that you headed up?
Yeah, actually, I'm pretty excited about it. You and I will be taking folks through an interactive workshop while we're there that really just actually not just talk about it, but help people to actually implement it. We kind of took a look at, rather than deciding that there's some kind of maturity curve, to try to make people feel like they're behind or ahead, we sat down and said, really, it's about just figuring out where people are. And so we're like, what do we call where we are? Like, what's the right term? So we were kicking it back and forth. David, you were very helpful with that. So when we came up with the term readiness, we said, what's the level of readiness of where somebody is? And then we said, okay, let's try to define roughly how many different readiness states you can have. Not climbing a hill, not following a slope, not doing a hockey stick, just trying to figure out what that, and then try to say, okay, what's simply the progression between. So we went out and did all of this qualitative, quantitative research, got a hold of the better part of 600 HR and business professionals worldwide, and we came up with what we call the AI progression model for empowering HR excellence. I know that's a mouthful, but I absolutely think it's kind of cool. And so we looked at 50 different processes across HR and said, how do they change based on the introduction and implementation of AI? So we kind of figured that out. We're like, mission accomplished. And then we said, no, we're not done yet. We have to figure out what are the key drivers that make this happen. So we data mined our award-winning case studies. We went out and talked to our faculty. We talked to our institute members. We talked to providers. We talked to people that are engaged with our research every day. We came up with 5 things that we think are the lead indicators for moving through the progression. One is your organizational state. How ready are you? Are you a change-ready organization, change-resistant? Do you hate technology in general? We needed to understand, and we saw a correlation, probably cause and effect, of where you are organizationally sets a tone for AI. What else did we look at? We looked at governance. When you talk to folks out there, one of the biggest things people talk about in AI is it's like fire, right? You bring it in the building, it can heat your house, cook your food, or burn you to the ground, right? So governance, how do we bring it into the building? And that seemed to be a gating factor too in how people move through their progression model and what they do. So we took a look at that. Then the next thing we looked at is to said, okay, we're back to the basics, right? People, process, technology. That's the drivers. Who are the people? You, the HR organization itself. Where are you? How are you feeling about this? Going from ad hoc, not really sure, consumer grade AI usage to specialized roles, going out and getting AI degrees. I was just talking to some people here in the backwoods of academia, as we call it, that Harvard group that a few people might know about, and some other groups, and they're actually starting to offer AI programs for people. And I was just recently talking with a colleague that Bentley College up here is actually beginning to offer an actual degree in AI. So we said people are going to have to go through upskilling and reskilling within their HR organization. Process, we looked again at 50 different processes and we said, where are people today? And what will those processes look like once AI has made its claim on that process? And finally, the one that everybody's most familiar with, however, there's a twist, is the technology part. We think right now it's like going out and acquiring technology, AI driven this. I happen to think AI now stands for all in. rather than artificial intelligence. Tell me what conference you've been to where someone's not waving the banner saying I have AI. So what we're looking at also is in the world of like agent-based AI, agentic AI, which our expert Ashwin Mehta will be talking about, Dr. Ashwin, is the idea that we will also have the ability to build AI infrastructure from the ground up within our own organization. So it won't be just tech platforms that we're licensing, but we will have the ability to build agents and do things and have all sorts of cool stuff and acronyms that we do inside our own organization. That's what we're seeing with phase 5. So that's kind of what we're seeing, and we are super excited to share it with
Yeah, I've been on lots of conversations with you and with others from our organization, talking to leading corporate organizations about how they can improve that. And I know one of the things that everyone has seemed to like is that analogy of bringing the fire into the building. It's so useful, but if you can't control it, you have to be careful. So, of course, one of the things we're working on is building out that governance. But the other piece that you mentioned was the technology component of the 5 things we looked at. And if you want to share a little bit about the technology, because there are lots of different types of technology when it comes to AI. And sometimes people get a little stuck in just the generative AI that came out 3 years ago. They might be piloting, testing it. But then, there's all kinds of different things like AI assistants versus true AI agents that are actually acting on your behalf. So can you talk a little bit about the technology component to the AI summit?
That's interesting that you bring that up. So there's an alphabet soup that's going on. AI just as the one that we think of first, but we got machine learning, ML, we got RAG, right? We got retrieval augmented generation. We've got this, we've got that. IoT, it's everything. The idea is that AI has been around for the better part of 20 years. We can't forget that. We already have AI in our lives for the better part of a couple decades. What we're going to be doing, as almost you and I will be doing during the workshop at the summit in our great brand new training and innovation campus called Brick that you talked about, which is pretty exciting, is we're going to be doing that kind of HR anthropology kind of look at things. We're going to be digging into how this impacts HR. And what we have to try to think about is all of these things are at our disposal. We can use machine learning. We already have. That's part of AI. We're already learning that we can go out and retrieve information through a chatbot or a digital assistant. That's RAG. We can do Gen AI, as you brought up, which is, all the LLMs, and you open up another can of alphabet soup with that. And we're also going to be talking about the newest and most advanced version, which is agentic AI. We're actually building standalone agents. We're going to be helping you to kind of go through, like, clearing out that dinosaur site, kind of figuring out where we've been, rough it all out. And then what was going to be great is we're going to pull out our crystal ball and try to predict the progression of all of that. We have to get comfortable that that's all under the umbrella of AI. And providers are adding versions of not all of this, some of it, all of it, none of it, into their platforms. We'll be going through that discovery stage. And then the other thing we'll be looking at is how organizations are building itself. And I happen to think, just based on getting to talk to the experts that are out there, this will be the easiest thing that we've ever built inside a company technologically. Like, we can actually learn how to do this as everyday people and build this stuff. So we'll be kind of going through where all of that falls, how it all gets used. It's kind of messy, kind of chaotic, kind of fun at the same time. But our hope is that we'll be able to bring some clarity to it so you can make some good decisions around tech.
Speaking of clarity and bringing some decisions, one thing that most organizations worry about is it's too far out there. It's too futuristic. Nobody actually knows how to do things properly, and quite
Right.
contrary. We're bringing in speakers from our award-winning submissions from real organizations that have won awards from us in AI because they've done it, they've been there, and they're going to share their stories with us. So talk a little bit about the speakers that are coming and how that's going to help people really prepare themselves and get a head start for their organization.
Glad you brought them up because they are the experts. Sometimes I feel like I don't know whether I describe myself as a sponge, being around them, just soaking up everything that they've already done. Or is it like being around the sun and just getting a tan from these folks? Just getting prepared for these sessions has been one of the most exciting opportunities. You're talking about Not like IT experts. We're talking about your peers, colleagues, HR professionals that have won award winning programs and have been courageous and brave enough to jump into this and figure it all out, but also share the failures, lessons learned, the ups and downs. This isn't a straight line, it's a bit of a zigzag. You can't believe the stories that they're going to be able to share with you and the insights. And you're going to be front center to be able to ask any questions you have about it and then spend the better part of a day and a half rubbing elbows with these folks and getting to know them better and hopefully build some great connections after you leave the summit so you can continue your journey with them.
And that's a great point. Just being able to spend the time with each other. I know that we have ample networking time, but also opportunity to share stories, and we have dinners and stuff like that. But we really want to continue that momentum and take back people that we can rely on in the future to share ideas with and really keep continuing that network. So, Michael, thanks for chatting with me and sharing a little bit more about our summit. Any closing thoughts or words for this segment?
My feeling is this. I know that everybody's super busy getting on an airplane, flying someplace, getting that approved, doing all those different things. I will promise you this will be the transformational event for you because AI is here and it's here to stay. And I promise you, if you come to this summit, you'll have the expert understanding of what you're doing, what you need to do, how to do it, gain the support that you need. But you'll begin to actually embrace the wonderment of AI. I know a lot of us out there are a little bit concerned, a little bit hedging on this wonderment. Have I had the time to understand it? This will be like the greatest opportunity you can have. Be like the Matrix. Like, your eyes will flutter and you'll be able to fly the helicopter afterwards. So I'm really excited to be there with all those experts. Hope to see you. And I think this will be groundbreaking for getting you off and running or progressing the program that you already started.
Well, you heard it here, the Michael Rochelle guarantee that you will have more knowledge on AI and be ready just like Neo from the Matrix. All right, everyone, thank you so much for tuning in, and I hope to see you soon at the AI Summit.
Bye bye, folks.